Hey Jacob, how's it going?
Doing well, man. How are you doing?
Doing well. Today we're gonna talk about what jewelry, what kind of jewelry we're gonna sell for our new business. But the first thing I need to do is reveal what name we're going with because I was supposed to do that in our last episode, but we actually went through the whole conversation and I never shared with you, so you still don't know.
No?
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's gonna be called Jewel Z, but
Julesy.
it's spelled with two L's, JEWELLSIE.com.
That's cool. Oh, you got the .com with it.
It because as it turns out, one of our main avenues, one of our main sales channels is going to be, online e-com. So, but anyway, that's going to be it, and that's the
That's
name. When I
awesome.
first said it to my wife, she didn't like it, but I think it grew on her in a matter of a few days, and so here we are.
Yeah,
And I own the
that's cool.
domain name. There's not a site up yet, but there will be. My goal is to once we go through this whole process, quickly execute. I actually did start buying samples of products, so I already know kind of what we want to do, but we'll discuss that here today because I think that's important since um, we're in November and it's going to be Christmas, so I had to get that started. So we should have some samples land where I can do our photography and get it up and going. Well, I already have photography, and I'll tell you how I already have that in another segment. But anyway, so how I want to talk to you about deciding on the type of jewelry to sell, and then from there, we can kind of figure out who my audience is going to be. And for me,
Yeah.
I don't wear jewelry, and I definitely don't wear women's jewelry. So I had to get a lot of input from my wife on this.
Mm,
She follows a lot of jewelry type influencers, fashion influencers, and she knows what's trending and things like that. The question, I guess, if you're starting a jewelry business task is, what do you want to sell? Do you want to sell trendy jewelry that changes seasonally, or you want to sell jewelry for occasions like engagement rings, um, lockets, heirloom type jewelry that's maybe a little more expensive, or go to Jacob Mart Jewelers and get a specialty custom fine jewelry piece that can cost you upwards of 10 grand, right? So I think that'll also help you determine who you're going to target, right? And I don't want to necessarily, design and make my own jewelry. I want to find a designer that we can market and sell, one that is really good with current trends in fashion. Going from there, we have to really think about who is our audience going to be, right? Um, and I think that helped us decide that one of our main channels will be um, online sales and and sales through social media because a lot of our customer base exists there. And I realize we're vastly different. Even with Revival, like we targeted mostly, women. I think our typical range was 25 to 60, you know, um,
yeah.
and it ranged older, it skewed older. Um, that's why Facebook worked well for us as opposed to say
Mm,
TikTok. Um, and it was also a little bit higher priced because our average order was $170, which it's not fine jewelry, but it's also not the trendy stuff you go out and buy for
right.
$50 or $100, right?
Right.
Um, but your stuff is vastly different because you target mostly men, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you
Yeah.
do some engagement, you said though, right? As
I
well.
do engagement, but even then, I mean, I'm dealing with men almost all the time
That's
because,
true. They're the
men
ones
are
that
coming
buy
for the
that. So it's
engagement,
still men.
right?
Yeah. Sure,
So,
sure.
I mean, design will change for them, obviously, because it has to be feminine
So
but yeah.
I actually haven't figured that into our target audience. How often do you think men actually buy other types of jewelry for women? Like, do you think they do buy a lot of gift jewelry, like trendy stuff? When I say trendy, I think of
Mm,
brands like Pandora, Missouri.
Yeah,
Goriana.
yeah. I think I'll put it this way. I think the big box brands are the ones that are going to sell to men because big box being Kay, Jared,
No, yeah,
Pandora, I'd say is probably up there now because they've
a
got
lot
a
of
lot
men
of name
shop on
brand
Pandora.
recognition. Yeah. I've seen guys, I mean, just walking around the mall, being in line either by themselves or with their significant other going into Pandora, you know? Um, so, yeah, there's definitely those times, but I would say obviously during the heights of the year, which are Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, right? That those seasons, I'd say that's when men are shopping for those things.
Of
Trendy stuff, though, I don't think men are aware enough generally of
course.
trends, especially in jewelry,
Well,
right?
they might
Uh,
get hints from their girlfriend or wife.
they'd have to exact that would have to exactly be what happens is she'd have to show him that look how cute this is and look how I love
Like, I
this
don't think my
brand, that
wife
kind
would
of thing,
want
right?
me buying jewelry for her ever, you know. So
Well,
or clothes
exactly,
for
and
that matter.
that's the thing. So I think your customer, definitely is more so I think it's the year long, year round, not impulse buyer, but well, let's just use that term, like impulse buyer. The lady who's there is no big reason for her to buy, right?
Mhm.
She likes it and she's gonna buy it. Um, it's the fashion jewelry she's gonna wear on the day to day. It's
Mhm.
not the like you said $10,000 diamond around my neck or something. It's yeah, it's the stuff she's gonna wear every day to
You
work or to
know, I
wherever it
remember
is.
even before I proposed to my wife, we went looking ring shopping together because
Mhm.
I knew how particular she was. So she already picked that out. I didn't even pick that, to tell you the truth. But I think you actually, I showed you the design and you ended up custom designing
I
it for
made it.
me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's right.
um, so here's what we came up with for our target audience. It's going to be women
Mhm.
mostly in their 20s and 30s who are interested in fashion, shopping, accessories, and jewelry. They're likely to be described as fashionistas. They'll maybe sometimes self-described and keep up with what's trendy. They're most active on platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. Secondarily, Facebook and Twitter as well. So a lot of social media. That's where we're going to find them.
Yeah.
And we have other ideas too. We'll find unique craft fairs and things like that, where we'll
Yeah.
do some face-to-face stuff. But that's what we're going to hit. So that's what we've come up with. Really, you'll get to see everything, Jacob, once we launch the site. I don't really have
Yeah.
much right now, so we're just kind of this is all part of the
Quick
brainstorm.
question.
Mhm.
Sorry, because I know this is out of the blue, but do you have samples on hand already, or
You know what? I
that you've
do have a
access?
couple, but
Do you?
so far we've ordered, I want to say 25 different designs,
Oh
sample
wow.
designs,
Okay.
but they're still on their way here. But I might have a
Okay.
couple. All right, so I was able to gather a couple of samples that we have. If you can see this, these are hexagon huggies.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
These are earrings that hug your ear. That's why they're called huggies, right? And those are popular for. I guess it just depends on the individual because um, I think this season also a lot of giant hoop earrings are going to be popular
Mm-hmm.
for winter.
Yep.
This is, obviously, I'm not the one doing all the research, but like
Mm-hmm.
my wife knows a little better. But
Right.
again, more earrings that look like you can see these.
Could you show like a front
Hoop.
side of those too?
No,
Oh
no.
yeah, yeah. That looks nice. Okay, cool.
So none of the everything we sell,
That's
nothing's
great.
going to be over $100. Everything's going to range in like $15 up to
Wow.
maybe $80. Maybe might be the most expensive thing because there's
That's
some
great.
necklaces we have. Oh, here's a bracelet, and
That's
it
really
really
great
depends on your
pricing.
skin tone. But the truth is, despite like rose gold working better on darker skin tones, it's a little bit more. A lot less people are wearing it. It's more about yellow gold this year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In any case,
Those are
those
great, and that's great pricing. That's awesome.
are. I guess I can kind of tell you where I got this. Um, so I came upon some designers in Korea, right? And
Mhm.
they were putting out some good stuff, and this one in particular that provided the earrings, they strictly, they make and get it manufactured, and they strictly sell wholesale, right,
Oh
in
wow,
Korea.
that's
So
awesome.
that's where I have the advantages. Like, these aren't going to be available here in the U.S. And
Right.
for now, at least, I'm kind of the sole distributor. That's a little play on words there, sold, because it's coming from Seoul, Korea. Um,
That's
but
awesome.
what I noticed is a lot of fashion and trends are coming out of places like South Korea these days.
Yeah.
I think there was once upon a time, all fashion trends were driven by what were on the runways of Europe, like Paris and Milan, right? And
Hmm.
then you'd see that stuff hit our malls like a year later. But
Yep.
now it's because of globalization and fast fashion. That's all changing. Everything happens like, you know, right now. So all the influencers get samples from everywhere, and put it out there.
Yep.
Um, but I think I have a leg up right now with this. At least my wife, she actually does all the legwork with, you know, um, finding the designs, seeing what's trending, you know,
That's really
and,
great.
and then she'll pick out the designs she likes, because these designs aren't original in terms of like, for instance, Huggies and hoops earrings, have been around. We also have
Right.
this, we're waiting for some, safety pin rings that have been trending, for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Those are still
Those are super
popular.
trendy. Yeah.
And so, those things aren't original ideas, but the particular design this guy puts out, like, people tend to like, right? And it's different than what other people are putting out, right?
Yeah.
And I think, we don't have brand value yet. Nobody knows who Julesy is, but
Hmm.
if you look at the quality and design compared to, say, like, you go to like a Majuri, and or have you heard of Gorgiana while you were out here?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're local. A lot of the price is in the brand name, right? Because we
Hmm.
can beat them on quality and even design, but we have to be priced competitively, right? So we're going to be significantly less, because
Absolutely.
a lot of some of the items that we're showing here, you'll find comparable items from some of those retailers I mentioned to you, and it's going to be
Yep.
$100, 125, 150, but
Yeah.
we have to sell it for a fraction of that, right? And we can, because
Yeah.
that's another thing I wanted to kind of talk about here, in case someone's trying to. I think jewelry has decent margins, right? Especially if you're a
Hmm.
jewelry designer and you work directly with a jewelry manufacturer. I mean, it's the wild, wild west, though. I think it's you can find some. I found some in the Midwest that will do casting relatively cheap, and they're comparable to, say, Asia. I mean, you can't really beat China. You can go on Alibaba and find jewelry all day if you want to sell that kind of jewelry, like cheap stuff, right? You
Yeah.
can, you know, you can sell stainless steel jewelry really cheap, but we're
Hmm.
we're sticking with sterling silver and some brass based designs for a little bit less expensive stuff, trendy stuff.
That's great.
But you already know what are the margins like for fine jewelry? What do you say, like, you know?
I mean, it ranges. You've got look, if you're shopping at a K and a Jared and all that stuff, which I guess could be considered fine jewelry because it's diamonds and gold.
Right?
The margins are huge.
So like
Okay.
five X,
Oh my gosh, at least sometimes
because they're
10x.
manufacturing and
It's
designing their own, right?
very. Not only that, they have, like you said, the name brand. How many people are going to shop? I mean, so many people still go and get their engagement rings from those places, And I had a guy who came in here looking for an engagement ring, and they were asking him. He was gonna pay like $13,000 for something. I would have sold him the exact same thing for somewhere around four or five. You
Oh
know.
yeah. So,
Uh,
and
and,
you
and
do you
that's me
consider
selling it to
yourself,
him, right? It's not even the cost of
yeah,
whatever it's,
and you're
so
someone who buys wholesale, right? Like these diamonds
yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely,
that's what I mean.
absolutely,
Like,
yeah.
even with this stuff, I mean, we're not selling precious gems, but I was looking at pricing and typical markup. So if you're buying from wholesale, you can mark this stuff up 2 to 3 times, right?
Hmm.
Um, but the wholesaler, they're marking it up about the same. So if you're, depending on where you are on the supply chain or where you are,
All right.
if you're at the, if you're making it yourself, right,
Mhm.
and you're selling it direct to the consumer, and you're, cutting out all the middlemen, then you
Yep.
can sell it, like feasibly sell it 5 or 6 times
Right, right.
price. Um,
Absolutely.
but we're cutting out all the headaches of manufacturing, because
Hmm.
I've done that before, and like a fraction of the merchandise you can't even sell because it doesn't come out right, and there's little
Yeah, I
that.
think that's also based on where you're headed with trends. You need someone who's manufacturing these and um, on the drop of a dime can change, like, hey, I want this piece now. I don't want this
Yeah.
design anymore. It's out of trend, right? If you're manufacturing and just keep on producing them, I think you run into inventory problems. You run into
Well, that's
now I've got
why
stuff
I'm
that's not
working with
selling, right?
these guys. I mean, they're
Yeah,
wholesaler manufacturer wholesalers, so
right.
at least there's one step that's cut out there, and I'm getting better pricing. But and
Yeah,
also I like the designers. They have a good
yeah,
design team
that's
there.
great.
And we talk to them. Um, it's actually my sister that originally found him. She spoke to them in Korean, and got a tour of the factory and all that. And so
That's
that's what
awesome.
we're going with. So that's how we. But for someone, I'm sure a lot of people starting jewelry businesses, they have their own concepts and designs that they want to put out, and go
Yeah,
for it, because I think if you can build a strong brand, and have a good following, they'll buy from you, and what they like. But for this, we're just reaching, we're just putting jewelry out there for an audience that we already know we're going to target,
hmm
right? So we're not going to put
yeah,
anything new and like innovative, but we're going to put things that are maybe you know trending.
yeah.
It's not going to be the stuff that has been selling for five years already, but it's going to be stuff that's current, right? I think we talked about this. Jewelry lasts in like 5-year cycles, doesn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and even I mean, what's kind of nice is you have, like, your the bell curve that you talked about. You
Mhm.
have the main majority who's following a trend, right? But you almost have like these people who are these either super late adopters or whatever it may be, who the safety pin stuff that's been around for. I mean, this has got to be at least 4 years now. It's going on, right?
Yeah.
And it
So we
still is
might
a.
be at the end of that
It
cycle.
may be, but I'm telling you, there's a jeweler I know specifically who's a big name, and he does fine jewelry, and his safety pin bracelet that he has sells like crazy still, right? It's been around for years, but
Yeah. Yeah. My wife was
it
telling me,
could be
yeah, that's
something
been
that's
around.
just a right. So I mean, you do, yeah. In terms of
Yeah, but you
maybe
know
a
what?
viral nature and feel,
Yeah.
yes, things will phase out, but there are certain things that will kind of leave
But
and
there are
stay.
some designs that have been around for years, but
Hmm.
you know, they didn't have a huge adoption rate. Like it wasn't
Right.
mainstream. And so now
Yep.
it's starting to pick up, because,
Yeah.
the big bubble hoops earrings, those have, been
Hmm.
trendy in some circles for a long time, especially out here in California. But when I
Yeah.
look at the rest of the country, it's popping now. So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think. Yeah. I mean, you'll definitely. I mean, you're gonna be not to jump ahead, but so you're gonna be online and marketing via social media. It sounds like, right? Or is
yeah,
that the
heavily.
idea?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, because I
Well,
feel
here,
like TikTok content, and not even from yourself, but more so the just from influencers, I can see, and there's so many fashionistas, if you will, or people who are moms who are fashionable, or like young moms and
yeah.
young ladies who are on TikTok, and
Well, I'll tell you, here's
um,
our strategy,
yeah,
because you
yeah,
have to
yeah,
pay
I'd love
money
to
to
hear it.
find influencers and put your, tout
Right.
your brand. But we're going to look
Hmm.
for trends, not influencers, right? We're going to look for trends,
Interesting. Okay.
but having designs that we believe are going to be, really popular. And we're going to target the, audiences that are into those trends, right? Rather
Yeah.
than us having to market it the kind of the tastemakers are there. We don't have to necessarily push that envelope. We just need to ride their coattails, so to speak, right? And that's our strategy, is that just to make the stuff that people want and put it out there at a reasonable price, at a reasonable quality, reasonable price. And that's our strategy, rather than being someone who's on who's the pioneer in the design. And we also don't want to be the laggard who follows these trends late. We want to be in the early majority, right? So
absolutely.
And that's going to be our sweet spot.
I think you're right on it. Yeah. Like Instagram. I mean, what's nice is Instagram has I think you already know this, but the whole shop feature on Instagram where they can just buy direct, right?
Well, we're gonna do a lot of that. That's because I've been testing some of that right now. Really? The customer acquisition cost for our price range is pretty low. Like when we were looking for customers in the older categories, it costs a lot more money. But we're skewing younger than our previous jewelry company, right? So this should work well. So I'm looking forward and excited about it. Anyway, like I said, we're going to put more content out here on YouTube to keep people updated to see how it works out. Because if we could fall flat on our face, and you're going to be there to see it, and you're supposed to be my coach along the way, buddy.
Oh gosh.
Tell me.
Hopefully, let's not fall flat on our faces.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, it's my wife that is going to be the final decision maker. Just to let you know. So, she wants to know.
That's wise.
I don't know if this is a sign that we're not doing something right, but she wants nothing to do with our channel. She doesn't want me to mention her name or our baby, because I think I have the cutest little 1-year-old, but I can't show her face on social. She just doesn't want the public to see. She's a little private. That's
wise.
You know her.
She's private. So. Yeah.
But I respect that. So I'm keeping her out. I'm keeping her name out of this. I'm just
absolutely.
But I will be sharing with you the business. And at a certain point, she has to come out of her shell and become the face of the business, because she's going to be running it from the back end, right?
Yeah.
But maybe she doesn't have to. Maybe we'll just become one of those brands where people just come to love it and respect it, and return to our site, and they don't care what the face of the owner is, as long as we're getting what they want, right?
Could be.
That'll be another test.
Absolutely.
Anyway, all right. Well, we'll do this again next week, and hopefully people will follow us and see where we end up, and hopefully it's not flat in our face. All right.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe our page. Till next time.